recall the past. Mental health, a fragile thread, but we'll find strength. Let love spread. Life's a climb, just take a step. Rise above, find your breath. In the darkness we will find a shining light to free our mind, to free our mind. Self-growth blooms like petals bloom, shedding tears will heal the wounds and the chaos. Let's find peace, embrace the flame, let it release.
Relax your mind. It's divine time. Boom! Welcome back. It is your boy, Donley Divine. I am sitting here with Miss Dolly.
Hola!
We was having a little discussion beforehand and was like, you know what? I was like, yo, I got a topic. She was like, what? I was like, the love of life. She said, say it again. But ultimately, I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to get back into being myself on and off camera. Because when I'm off camera, everybody can see the goofy side of me and all that stuff. And when I do the panels, as I was telling her, I was like, I kind of just sit back and I let everybody speak, because I feel like if I say something, I might end up missing something that I could possibly use or that can help better me, you know? And with it, I'm like, when I do little one-on-ones, or either just do a podcast episode by myself, y'all can really get to see who I am. I get to put my little spadazz, or I'm not even going to say that. I was about to say sprinkle, and I was like, no. I've seen some videos and I was like, oh, people say sprinkle too? And I was like, oh, no. That's not how I use sprinkle back in the day. But so with it, I'm going to go ahead and roll into the love of life. In this episode, I want to talk more of the things that bring us love and that really shine light into our lives. If you want to sum it up as in the things that you love about life and the greatest things about being alive, having life. And I hate to do this, Dolly, but you know I always do ladies first.
Okay, so you were talking and my computer went like kaput. So you're gonna
have just the topic. That's it. Just throwing you on first for the love of life. The things that bring love of life. The things that you love about life, that you love about life in general. Not just yourself, but of life in general. Mm-hmm. I want to speak that positivity because I feel like I want to make this episode so where anybody who listens to it, if they are in a downtime, they can sit there and be reminded of all the good things in life. So, for example, I'm going to give an example. Last night, I was with one of my buddies, and he was at the bar. He was drinking. He was going through some stuff. And I'm sitting next to him, being a straight nigga, eating like 12 chicken wings. And I'm like, hey, bro. So with it, I was trying to get him to I was trying to cheer him up some. So I'm talking to him, just being myself and all that stuff. And we people watching, and they had bingo night going. I didn't realize that you can play musical bingo. So with it, I'm sitting there, I'm jamming to the songs. He's playing Motown hits. I'm over there singing My God, all that stuff. Not going to make anybody's ears bleed on here, but I'm singing like all the songs. He's got Temptations going. He's got Jackson 5, all that stuff. I was like, ooh, I came on a good night. And I'm like, bro, how can you stay mad at this? And he's sitting over there just like, I'm like, okay, Eeyore. I was like, it's okay. I was like, I'll be Tigger tonight. It's fine. The wonderful thing about Tigger is I'm the only one. And so with it, I'm singing the songs and stuff. But the dude, the guy who I thought was the DJ, because I wasn't paying attention to all that, he was worse than a Jamaican selector. What I mean by that was like he was playing a song for maybe 10 seconds and then it goes to the next song. And I was like, so I'm into it. I'm like, my girl, the music cuts off and you hear me in the background, type stuff, you know? And I'm like, and everybody looking over, I'm just like,
there we go.
So, and then he looks at me like my buddy's on. He was on the left of me. He looks at me like, and I was like, hey, I don't know. I was like, so the next song comes on. I'm like, ooh, and I start singing that, and then it cuts off, and I was like, okay, what is this, musical chairs? I was like, all right, bet. And then all of a sudden, somebody yells bingo. I was like, oh yeah, it says bingo night. I was like, but he didn't even say, like, I was expecting to hear like B12, E5, C22 type deal, you know, like, but no, it was lit up in there, huh?
UB40.
It was pretty lit in there. So ultimately, I started realizing I was like, okay, this is musical bingo. And I was sitting there, and there was an older couple that ended up sitting to the right of me. And the man, he started talking to this other gentleman who was right beside him. So they were right there. The lady was beside me right here. Her husband was right here. This is me.
Mm-hmm.
This is her, and this
Mm-hmm.
is her husband. And then now it's a corner, and there's another dude right here.
Mm-hmm.
So with it, the husband was talking to that guy, and I started chopping it up with the wife. And the wife ends up telling me about how she lost her mom about a year ago or about 4 months ago. And then her husband just lost his mom for about a month ago, 4 days before his twin died.
Sheesh.
Yeah. And I was just like, well, cheese and bread. While I'm sitting here with my buddy on the left hand side, whose partner just took everything from him and left him. So he has no kids. He's in a runk. He's trying to keep his business afloat and all that. So I've got negative vibes on the left,
Mm-hmm.
trying to hide their moping on my right. And I'm sitting here singing My Girl and all these other songs in the middle of two people who are grieving. And I had no idea. I'm just in my own reality having a good time smacking on some Jamaican jerk chicken wings and some lemon pepper chicken wings. Just over there, just nom 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 nom. Completely oblivious to what's happening on the right side of me. I knew what was happening on the left, and part of the reason why I was doing what I was doing is because I'm like, I'm not going to allow that energy to affect me. And I know that you called me here because you wanted a pick me up. You needed some positive vibes. And I could definitely do that. So I'm offering him chicken wings. He's like, nah. I was like, okay, well, I'll get you another beer. I was like, but I'm only getting you one because I don't know, one, I don't know how long you've been here, and two, I was like, alcohol is not something you need in a time to where you're feeling down. Oh, but talking with this couple, I was talking with the lady, and she's telling me like what was going on. I was like, dang. And I was like, look, I cannot even imagine at this point what it would be like to lose my mom or even someone in my family. I was like, I've dealt with a lot of death in my life, but I I was like, I don't want to think about that. And I don't know if, I'm like, I don't know how it will affect me. I was like, so I cannot even pretend to imagine how you feel. And to make matters worse, he lost his mom and his twin. I was like, so he lost the one woman that was there for him from the beginning, then the one person who was there with him from the beginning. I was like, so I was like, y'all both are grieving. I was like, and now you're both sitting there trying to figure out how you can help the other one during their grief when you both were grieving. I was like, that's a hard thing to think about. So then with it, my buddy on the left, he's like going out. He's like, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. He's like, you want to come? I was like, I don't smoke. I was like, you can go ahead and hit your. I was like, go ahead and hit your cancer stick, whatever makes you feel better. I was like, I'd rather you kill your lungs than kill yourself. So go ahead. My biggest thing with that was, I think that's one of the reasons why the love of life came to my head today, because there's always individuals around you that are going through things. And you're most likely unaware of it. And that's the reason why constantly walking with love is so important. And going into like the topics we were talking about earlier, where it was like, look, if we're going to spread that love and that righteousness,
Mm-hmm.
the best thing to do is what you should be doing is being that example in every breath of your life. Not even every step, because there's some people who are lazy and just stay in the bed or in their chair all day. Every breath of life. So no matter what you're doing, you are seeping out that love. And I mean, I wrote a post earlier today and I was like, matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up and read it verbatim. Because I had realized, I was like, dang, one of the biggest reasons why people end up people end up trying to make me out as a bad person is because they see in me what I am and that I'm not faking it. That
Yep.
I've always been this way. And I was just like, dang. I wrote this morning, I post love for I am love. I embrace what I am and have been attacked for it my entire life because I want to see love in the world. Others try to smear my name and create an image of me because they see in me what they don't have. I will continue to upset those who fake being loving and fake their character. I will do it unapologetically.
Bro, I just wrote down I kid you not. Hold on.
Uh-oh. All right.
Unapologetically genuine.
Wild. Divine time, huh? That's why the podcast is divine time.
Bruh. Get out of my head.
And you know the worst part too? Unapologetically. What do you mean get out your head? I wrote this hours ago. Unapologetically is all caps. Cause I'm just like, that's going back to the topic. Love. That is one thing that I feel that all us human beings are capable of is love. And the thing that upsets me the most is the fact that we're living in a time where society tries to reverse that and make it seem like love is hate
or weakness.
Yes. They put it as that to where it's like now when people think of doing things out of love, they don't want to because the rest of the people that they're around, rest of society, I can only speak for America right now.
Western society.
Yeah, the West Side. The we sorry, I'm random. I know. Hey. But anyway, we sit here and if you see a elderly walking across the road and they having a difficult time, and you're with like your buddies or whatever, and you want to go help that individual, but you know that your buddies aren't really like that. They're probably gonna clown you and stuff. A lot of people will not do it because they don't want to be pushed out of that societal norm that they're in with their clique or whatever. I feel like that's one of the reasons why you see a lot of people who I call them chameleons. They're one way around certain people and another way around other people because they're having a constant battle and conflict with themselves internally. And I'm just like, yo, what the world? With them having that constant internal conflict and battle with themselves, they know what is right, but they're choosing not to do it. So therefore, they have to find people who are different than those people to actually do the things that they are constantly feeling they need to do internally. What they know is right. Yeah. So now it's like they're doing things for clouts and all this stuff on the exterior, but then have a completely different group of people so that way they can do the things that is actually fulfilling their soul. What?
Oh no, I got something for that.
Oh, okay. Well, throw it out. I'm gonna put you on the big screen real quick.
Oh man. Okay, so when you said in the that internal conflict of being a chameleon, it took me back to when I was a teenager, maybe like middle school, high school, and mom called me a chameleon because I can adapt. We moved around so much, I could adapt in any situation, which is a good thing and it's a bad thing. The bad thing is a lot of times you can lose your identity. You can, it's easy for you to become They slip into an identity crisis because you don't know who you are, because you're so used to taking your pulling off of other people. And that, honestly, at one point I lost who I was. And so what I was saying was like, somebody who doesn't know who they are is dangerous, because when you are in a group, in that group dynamic, there's always going to be a leader. There's always going to be somebody who's going to sway other people to do what they want to do. Their opinions are always going to matter over everybody else. And that's where we get peer pressure from, is being in those groups, right? So if you have weaker people who don't know exactly who they are, they have low self-esteem, and the list goes on, they're going to be easily swayed to fit into the crowd. And so when you said that, the internal conflict, that's what I got. That's what I thought about, not knowing who you are. But when you know who you are, you can stand strong and be the life of the party. When you go out and you do this, what I'm saying?
Let your light shine.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you attract people.
Yes.
And that's when you understand who you are unapologetically authentic and genuine within your own self, you can function and not give two rats potato chips what anybody else got to say. Whether they lie on you, whether they try to assassinate your character, whatever they have to say, because letting your light shine, people are going to know who you are. Regardless, they're gonna be like, that's not in Dolly's character. That's not in Divine's character to function from what you're saying. Because Mom used to always tell us, your name will go further than you ever will.
Facts. And I think that's the reason why we oftentimes try and defend our character when people try and slander our name.
Yep. I had a situation where a young lady tried to tell me and you've known me for what, 33 years?
I don't know.
Somewhere
I
around
don't remember how old I am.
years.
Age is just a number. I'm way past that. So
mentally, I'm past my age too.
Exactly. So if people have be asking me like, "Oh, how old are you?" I'm like,
bruh,
how old do I look? Let's just stick with that.
And then add a couple years. But when you dang it, what was I saying?
Words. You were talking about how mindset will talk about how your name will go further than you ever will.
Oh yeah, I was in a situation where a young lady tried to say that I was fake. Have you ever in your life ever known me to be fraudulent? I am one of the most authentic people you can ever meet in your life. I don't like lying. I'm not a liar. I don't like a liar. I don't fool with that. I'm very honest and upfront. I come from a family who is very forward, very what's the word? Can be abrasive at times, because we are unapologetically ourselves, period. Yeah. And we are upfront. We're not fake. We're not phony. We're very bold. So for somebody to try to tell me, "Oh, you're fake," I was like, "Girl, bye, stop projecting." That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I was a weak-minded individual, then I would maybe second guess who I was. My identity would have been like, "Oh my God." But knowing like, and then, being in school for social work, I understand some things. It helps to know, like, no, you stand strong on what you believe in. You stand strong on who you are. Otherwise, you'll be easily swayed here, there, and everywhere. So
you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
And that's important to know who you are and be bold in letting who you are shine from your heart. Because people are going to see you for you, not what other people say that you are. I'm really big on, like, I guess this goes with life, on when I meet new people, I like to experience people for myself, because your experience may not be my experience. That person may not dislike you because of something that y'all, had, and that's why y'all interact the way that you interact. But having an encounter with a person for yourself will allow you to make that decision on their values, their morals, those standards. Are you guys going to be a good fit? Are you going to be able to click when I'm going through something? Can I call on them? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like those are the attributes, those are the qualities, those are the traits that people look for in friendship. You know, and a lot of times a friendship can develop into a family dynamic because you've made those bonds. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you know, like there's a lot. Like I can go on and on, but yeah, man, life, loving life, but knowing who you are, go like this, go like this. That's why a lot of people battle depression. They don't know who they are.
In all honesty, like I love the fact that you even touched up on that because when I was in Washington State, I feel like a lot of things that I was going through
Yeah.
with my depression. Oh, yes, Kovu. What can I do for you, boy?
He's like, I just want some love, Dad.
I think so. He just came over here and put his whole nose under my arm and tried lifting it up. Like, yo.
Dad.
As I was stating, when I was in Washington State, that's like where my life took a major turn.
Mm-hmm.
And my depression was horrible, and it really was. It was really mainly because of the fact that while I was in the Marine Corps, as I was starting to get out, I was losing who I was. I was
Mm-hmm.
starting to become something that I was not. I was forgetting who I was. And a lot of people who were in the Marines with me from the beginning for like my first 4 years, they were like, I got to say, like, you have not changed. Like, you've always been this way. And I was like, hey, it's got me to where I need to be. So it was interesting for me from how I went from being a meritorious exemplary Marine in California to all of a sudden becoming a shitbag when I'm in Washington State. And having started up having all these issues to the point where damn near get put out the Marine Corps. And I was just like, dang. And like looking back at it, I was like, they tried to turn me into something that I was not, which me fighting against them because them trying to make me something I was not made me the bad person.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, cool. So, which therefore then I started having a whole bunch of internal issues with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was trying to get back to who I was, which caused me to have to try and find who I am.
Right.
Because I had lost who I was. And that's when my depression and everything was real bad. And then adding PTSD on top of that, I was effed up. I was really effed up. Oh, relationships weren't working. I was just being reckless. I had reached there was a lot of times where I just did not give a F. And then at the same time, not even being able to be by family because all family was on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast. It would take so much for me to even get to y'all. So I was real grateful of the fact of the when y'all ended up getting married in Hawaii because it was on the West Coast, so I could easily get over there.
Yeah.
That was real cheap for me. But coming from West Coast to East Coast, that was gonna be a couple grand just for me at that time. And then I will also still have to figure out like the whole dog situation and all that other stuff. So it was a lot for me to do to try and even see family. So I was isolated from family. I felt like I was turning to people who were around me who I thought cared about me. That's the word thought.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad. It was bad. And I mean, looking back at it, I'm like, I went through a lot. I went through a lot and
In a short
giving a lot to a whole lot of people who did not care,
Ooh.
unfortunately. And with that, I've noticed I was like a lot of people who do have depression, they often will either try and deal with just themselves to make themselves feel better, or they'll find some type of substances, or they'll end up being codependent and trying to please everybody else to make themselves feel better.
True.
They do the opposite of bullying. Rather than hurting other people to make themselves feel better, they'll try and make other people happy to make themselves feel better. I noticed that trait in one of the buddies that I was staying with. He would always end up throwing parties for all these people, and I'm like, you realize they're just using you, right? I'm like, because think about it. Nobody pitches in. I was like, everybody comes, eats up, and drinks up everything to where there's nothing left for you or anybody who stays in that house. I was like, they all leave all happy and merry while nobody offers to help clean up or nothing. They come for what they came for. They leave happy while you're still sitting there having to clean up and slave after all these other individuals. I'm like, what are you getting out of it? I was like, is it just the fact that you want your name to be known as the party goer, or you want all these people? You want to think that all these people care about you? But when, in all honesty, looking back at it, I realized I was like, a lot of people that I had around me were things that I guess you can say that I wanted for myself, which was ultimately I'm like, so I wanted people to think that I was this, or I was this, or that I was capable of this, and it was just one of those things. And I'm like, you know what? In the long term, I reached back to the point kind of where I was as a child. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. I'm doing what makes me happy. As long as I'm not hurting anybody and not hurting myself, fuck you. Because I'll run around. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I run around now barefoot. People be looking at me crazy. I'm like, is it bothering you? Are you hurt? Hey, shut up. I keep on going. Like that's how I think of it in my head. I'm like, shoot, I'll be out there just having a good time. And I mean, honestly, my kids brought that up to me. Like, it's watching my kids is what made me realize, like, you know what? I'm not my true self. My true self is being able to have fun and smile anytime that I want because I'm doing what I enjoy. I'm not living into societal norms and trying to push things upon other individuals or push things upon myself. I'm letting my light shine.
That's
And I mean, it's upsetting other individuals because they can't find that happiness in themselves the way that I'm finding the happiness in myself. I'm like, look, you could, but you're so focused more on what other people think of you, what other people are going to think of you. True talk, no lie. Like, that's how I feel now. People were like, man, you always dressing so eccentric and outlandish. I'm like, nah, I'm dressing what makes me happy. I was like, how does the way that I dress upset you? I don't understand that. I was like, I have clothes on. I'm not running around helicoptering or anything like that. Like, why is me wearing a hat being put together affecting how you feel? True. I mean, it's not like I'm out here wearing a freaking some booty cut shorts with a thong to where you see the sides up there running around and my booty cheeks is clapping with every step I take. Like, no,
bro, that's nasty.
Dressed in a way that is presentable and professional, that also represents my brand and who I am. So if it upsets you that I look good, up your game, baby, up your game. So I mean, that's the thing that bothers me. Like, if you are shining bright, there's always going to be individuals coming to try and eclipse you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That is so true. And I struggle with that. For at one point, even in my adult life, you know, after I went through what I went through in North Carolina and I moved to Cali, you know, like that was a tough time where you can become a people pleaser, but you have to take time for yourself to heal and seriously heal and not worry about what other people got to say, because at the end of the day, you're not living your life to its full potential. You're cutting away at yourself, you know, and then you're miserable. I mean, there was a time where I was so miserable. And that's where I, like I was saying earlier, you know, I slipped into that depression, man. I did. Bruh, I was the type when going through depression, I self-isolate. I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to deal with folk. I didn't like people. I didn't want to be around folk. Mm-hmm. Don't call me, don't text me because I'm not going to respond. Like, and that's being real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of folk are not real with themselves when it comes to things like that. A lot of people who go through depression, they self-isolate, and that's what's scary. That's not good, because when you're by yourself, that's when the enemy plays tricks with your mind. That's when people have suicidal thoughts. That's when people plot to do not good things because they're by themselves and they don't have that community to help support them or their support system, you know? So being by yourself is not a good thing. I don't care what nobody tell you. Having time to yourself, yes, we all need that. That's self-care. But like having a lot of time to yourself, not want to be around people, that's unhealthy behavior. Like, I don't care what nobody else has said, that's unhealthy, because that's when your mind starts to wander. You know that saying, idle hands is the devil's workshop? That's what that's saying, literally. When you're by yourself, that's when your mind starts to wander. You start thinking about, well, I wonder if the world would be a better place without me.
I'm not gonna. That's something that I dealt with. And when I was younger, when I was in the Marine Corps, I didn't like to really be alone. Or correction, my first 4 years, I loved being alone. And then I think it was then at some point I reached a point where I was like, no, I'm missing out on a lot of things because I'm always by myself. And so I started forcing myself into uncomfortable situations to make sure that I would be a part of other things. When I got out the Marine Corps, there was a lot of jobs that I didn't want to stay in due to the fact that I didn't like being alone to deal with my thoughts, to deal with my head. Like when I was doing electrical work, that was something that always bothered me. I was always usually by myself trying to run wires and all that stuff. And I'm having thoughts and things going through my head. And I'm just like, I hated it. Now I've reached a point where I'm like, I love being alone. I'll go sit by the water and just be in my head and be like, okay, cool. All right, bet. That's a thought that I don't like. Let me write that down and try and dig deeper to figure out why I don't like that thought. A little bit of what some people will call shadow work. I had to get down to the roots of certain things that were bothering me, if you want to call it triggers, to understand what stemmed in my life to make me feel this way now. Because a lot of things end up coming back down to childhood pains. And I also had to sit there and realize that when I run across people who always need to be around a bunch of people, they're dealing with a lot of stuff themselves, and their coping mechanism is being around a lot of people. And I'm like, now that I'm aware of what I went through, I can see it in others. And that's one of the amazing things about self-growth, while also at the same time letting your light shine, which I have a feeling is the topic of this now. I feel like this episode's topic is let your light shine. But yeah, it's wild. And I see you writing. She about to come with a clap back. And I think this is probably gonna be your closing statements too. Seriously? Did you just text me with that? I'm gonna look at that later, or should I look at it now?
It's up to you.
Okay, I'll look at it later. I got my kids over here looking at me.
That's a laugh for you later.
Baby girl, no. Go put a different shirt on, please.
Okay.
And those shorts are inside out. That is not matching at all. All right. Yeah. You said you'd be on here for 30 minutes. My dad's about to come over. I need to go get these kids dressed.
Look at that.
I know, right? Yeah.
That's your light shine.
Yes, it is. You want to come say hi?
Is that my baby? Hey, baby.
Okay. All right. But hey, this was another episode of Divine Time. Hey, we're gonna have to pick it up. So let your light shine is what I got titled as. But hey, it's another episode of Divine Time. I thank y'all for stopping by. And with that, relax your mind. It's Divine Time.